Hello and welcome to the Weekly Reel Podcast. My name is Jeremy.
And my name is Ken.
And Ken, today we are going to be wrapping up Season 7 with our special RKO Awards. And why did we call that again, Ken?
Well, actually it's like eightfold.
Yeah.
But the RKO Awards is named after a certain wrestler, Randy Keith Orton, and his finishing maneuver, his finisher, is the RKO. For the longest time, I always thought it meant Randy Knockout.
Yeah.
But I guess I was wrong. It was his initials. But yeah, I mean, in a way, when you knock someone out, that's really a finisher. But we also have a different reason why we call these the RKO Awards, right?
Yeah, because we're finishing up the season, but also because it's the apex predator, Barbara Minerva, the cheetah. I don't know if we're gonna mention that episode again. Let's
just say count on it.
Yeah, exactly. If I was a betting man,
and I am, I'll bet the barn.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, I mean that was the connection, right? During the Wonder Woman 1984 episode, Barbara Minerva, aka was played by Kristen Wiig. One of her, I guess, adjectives was the apex predator, right? And then because she was a cheetah,
that's what she wanted to be. She's like, I wanted to be an apex predator.
And both of us were like, we caught that right away, and the apex predator is actually Randy Orton as well. So it's all tied together.
It all comes together. They know we're watching. They know. Mm-hmm. They basically handed us the title of RKO Awards on a plate. It's like, okay, we got it.
Yeah, I guess my only regret is we didn't think of it after season 1, because we've only had RKO Awards starting in season 2, and so minor regret, I should say.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's so good though. It's
one of the few things that come out of good things that come out of Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah, exactly. Among the inside jokes.
Yeah. This season, we started live streaming, and it's been interesting being able to interact with everyone. Even all the comments that we get as we go. Sometimes you get special guest appearances from.
I'd like to think we had a special guest, Glenn Powell. Thanks for being that one, kind of popping in and out in between takes.
Yeah, it's like, the number is going up and down. He's just taking a break. He's in his trailer, having to pop in on the guys.
Yep, exactly. And all I'll say is all pie is goodbye.
As I live and breathe.
Yes, we did cover that movie. Oh man,
dude, that was so long ago.
Mm-hmm.
But Ken, if they're watching right now live, like they can talk to us right now. This is a pretty chill episode. We're not covering like one specific movie.
Yeah. Please feel free to react for those of you who are on the live stream now, and obviously for those of you popping in, we have absolutely no spoilers to speak of, because we're not really talking about any specific movies today. We're just wrapping up season 7, and we're doing it in the weekly reel way with the RKO Awards. And so you get to see which movies kind of moved us throughout the season. And to do that, I hope you click the link through Instagram, but also hopefully you just are a subscriber of the YouTube channel with the Weekly Reel Podcast, and it's just now on your subscription list. So definitely check us out.
Yeah, so as we start, we're going to do our RKO Awards for Season 7. We have a good bit of categories in this one. Like you said, whichever movies or episodes kind of moved us. Some not in good ways. So we're going to start off with kind of more recent title that we came up with this season, the soup du jour.
Yes. So that
And
first wait, what's this first RKO word that we're giving
yeah,
out?
the first one we're giving out is favorite soup du jour episode.
All right. Whew. Yeah, so we have 18 if I'm not mistaken. I mean, we haven't fully uploaded all of them yet, but
Mm.
because we just live streamed this past Wednesday. So be on the lookout for it this coming Monday, August 5th, if I'm looking at the right calendar. But anyway, my winner for favorite soup du jour episode is actually a recent one.
Oh.
It's the stream own skip episode. The format that we just created, it was a kind of an offshoot of Kiss Mary Kill, right?
Yeah.
And then we decided to kind of switch it up to like movie themes. So stream own skip for 80s films. It was the soup du jour episode that was in conjunction with Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. I just thought it was a different concept that I literally came across a random TikTok, and I don't know. I brought it up to Jeremy. I was like, dude, I think we could do something with this. And we came up with the idea of doing a Kiss Mary Kill. And I just thought it was a fun concept going through each. It was at the top 3 grossing movies in each of the years
Of the 80s.
of the 80s, from
Yeah.
80 to 89. And what we had to do out of those top 3 grossing, we'd have to stream, own, or skip each of the movies. And man, the hardest one, the most difficult one was 1989, the very last one, because we
Yeah.
had Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Batman 1989, and Back to the Future Part 2. And we love all 3 of those movies.
Yeah.
And it was excruciating when it wasn't when it was my turn, but it was fun seeing you kind of squirm also trying to figure out what you wanted to stream, own, and skip.
Dude, it was super hard, and I hope that people that were watching or listening now, if you didn't listen to that episode, go check it out and make your own kind of list on that. It's a really fun game, that one.
Yeah, yeah. So that was definitely I felt like we were in our bag creatively for that one. So that one's my favorite.
Yeah, like for me, I've particularly liked the drafts that
Yeah.
we've done this season. And my favorite Soup du Jour episode is probably number 14, the Pixar draft.
Ooh. Yeah,
Because
that was good.
one, I feel like I got a lot of flack for some of the choices I made, which in a way, whenever you post like the TikToks and the reels and we get comments and like, what the hell are these guys choosing for? I almost like being the heel, you know what I mean? People are like, oh, how can you not choose any of the Cars movies? I'm like, well, sucks for you. I didn't.
Because they
um
sucked. That's
yeah.
why. And so do
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Boo. And wherever you're from, your city sucks. They always do that, right? Freaking
Yeah,
wrestlers.
yeah.
Whichever
All the trailer trash.
yeah.
That's always low hanging fruit.
Right.
That's too good.
But yeah, the Pixar draft, going into some of that stuff in terms of the Cars, the Toy Stories, freaking I mean, choosing each and single one that you have to choose one that they're actually good movies, but also ones that you're super nostalgic for. I found
Mhm.
really challenging.
I almost picked that one also because not only in that episode did we do the Pixar draft, we did a bonus of keep 5 cut 5 as well. And the fact that we both did different lists, because I mean there's 28 Pixar films currently as of August 3rd 2024. We hadn't seen all of them, so we used a randomizer. You used one for me, and then I had one for you of the movies that we saw, and you had to keep 5 cut 5, and you didn't know, you couldn't prepare because we actually did the randomizer on the live stream. So that one was also a good one. That was actually probably my honorable mention.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely like yours too. Like the 80s movies, always get nostalgic for those.
Yeah,
Pixar, though. Yeah.
Yeah, that Pixar one was a fun time. I enjoyed that episode as well.
The next category we want to give out, or next RKO award, is most disappointing movie. So this is going to be interesting. When I was looking at other seasons, it was like there are some we had some interesting lineups sometimes, and sometimes there was like, oh, there's clearly like no bad movies in some seasons, but this season I feel like was a bit of a roller coaster. So what's your most disappointing movie for season 7?
Yeah, you know what's funny? You mentioned that. It's kind of going through the same thing. But I think because this season we made a concerted effort just to cover new movies, so there's that variable of we it's not a guarantee. It's like we can only go off of trailers and what's listed and who's on the cast, and we could kind of guess. Hopefully, it's a good movie. But yeah, there were some hot messes out there this past season that we did cover. So my RKO award winner for most disappointing movie. I don't know if this is a bit of an upset, but mine is Argyle. Not only was there, I guess, a great cast, I thought it had a fun trailer as well. There was some like kind of cameos. It turned out to be cameos, but it just seemed like a fun movie. Especially finding out later that it was related to the Kingsman universe, and I've only seen maybe one, but it was
The
a
first one.
it was a fun one.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, that's kind of disappointing. Now it had me curious in a weird way of like what the quality is on some of the sequels. But yeah, I don't know. Like I thought that they had an opportunity to do something special. They had Apple backing them, so there's no shortage of money there with their budget, but in some parts it looked like a little wonky TV show. I won't get into like TV shows CGI from like the early 90s or something like that.
Dang.
But I won't get into particulars, but yeah, it was just a hot mess. And I was hoping that that would be the first really good movie of this season because obviously the other first movie wasn't.
Yeah.
That may be mentioned later.
Exactly. um, I also chose Argyle, but for the sake of being different, I'm going to choose something else. But to speak upon Argyle, like the trailers, the promos, the cast, like you said, it was almost like a sure thing that at least it would be decent.
Yeah.
And over time, I think I gave it a fresh score, like probably barely. But over time, it's like it didn't sit well.
Yeah.
And now looking back on it, it's like, maybe it wasn't even that good. And so, yeah, there's a lot of problems with that movie. Just the amount of hype that I had for it just went down. But the movie then that I'm going to talk about, I don't know if this is a surprise or not, because I chose Argyle for my number one. My number two would be The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Those are the two that I was kind of juggling. I think I ultimately chose Argyle because I hated that movie more.
Yeah. Like, I think I would still give Ungentlemanly a fresh score, probably just barely. You know what I mean? It's fun, but in terms of where I expected it to be and to where it drops, it's pretty significant. Just like,
Agreed.
but Argyle went too low. I still think Ministry is still a good movie, but it could have been way better.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been
Yes.
freaking Inglorious Bastards level, but it just took like the surface level of that and never went past that.
Yeah, and just so you know, hopefully we don't get any hate mail. We don't hate Henry Cavill. They just happen to
Oh, yeah.
they're just two movies that have Henry Cavill in it. We love Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
And I just realized that we covered 3 movies this year with Henry Cavill, but in varying degrees because we covered one this past week also that had him in it, and if not for very long, but
Yeah. Oh shoot, I didn't realize that it was secretly also the Glenn Powell season, but also secretly Henry
Henry
Cavill.
Cavill. But there are levels to this.
Yeah, but not the movies weren't the greatest this for Henry this time.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize that though.
I actually wanted to mention these aren't really honorable mentions, and
Dishonorable.
technically, it's not most disappointing to us. But in terms of just news, I thought that it was disappointing that The Fall Guy and Furiosa bombed at the box office
Mm,
because I enjoyed both of those movies, but then they just didn't do well. And they, especially with Fall Guy, their theatrical run just got cut short after a couple of weeks. It was just weird.
yeah, and out of all the movies, I thought that would be one that people would show up for.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the timing of it, early May. I feel like if it came, was it early May or was it June?
What do you call it? Fall Guy was
Fall
early
Guy?
May, and
Yeah.
Furiosa was Memorial Weekend.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like the timing, if Fall Guy would come out maybe like late June, early July, I think it would have done better. In
Yeah.
terms of spacing of other movies that it would go against. I don't know. I could be wrong.
But that's the thing. It wasn't going up against anything.
Yeah, that's weird. I
You
mean,
know, like oh, go ahead.
Memorial Weekend though, people were like leaving and doing their own thing for Furiosa.
Yeah, for Furiosa.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah. Who knows? uh, but the next RKO award we want to give out is most surprising movie, and I guess that exceeds expectations. This is the
Yes.
way we want to describe this award. So, Ken, what's yours?
Okay. My RKO award is going to be handed out for most surprising movie to, and I'll give you a hint. If you feel it.
Oh no way! Chase it!
Yeah, dude. I thought that Twisters was just going to it's going to be a blockbuster, obviously, CGI fest. I thought that the first one was pretty good. I mean, it was okay. But when we did our most anticipated movies of 2024, Twisters wasn't even an honorable mention for me. And so you could that should tell you, like, in terms of my expectations, whether or not that I thought Twisters was actually going to be good. But my goodness, I actually just rewatched it this past Tuesday on Discount Tuesday, and it holds up on second rewatch. On the next rewatch, so I still enjoy the on-screen chemistry between Daisy Edgar Jones and our guy Glenn Powell, because yeah, he's just magical on screen. On screen.
There you go. And we had him on our screen, 3 times this season
As the leading
as the leading man in these
man.
movies.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, and each one I think was entertaining in its own way.
Yeah. And each of them very different. I think that's what was nice.
Yes.
Not just watching Glenn Powell, but it, being very different movies every time.
But watching Glenn Powell too.
But yes. In addition to.
The official weekly reel man crush.
That should be an award.
Yeah.
We're going to call it the Glenn Powell Award.
Yeah. For man crush of the season.
Back crush of the season. Oh, that's funny.
That's too good.
Um,
How come the best what do you call it, ideas come at the most inopportune times?
I don't know, man. Blame 1984.
Yeah, exactly.
My most surprising movie. I don't know if this is a hot take again. I'm going Civil War.
Ooh,
People
yeah,
might think this movie's like mid or whatever. I really enjoyed it. Like, yeah, it's kind of just like freaking like a disaster movie, but I think that's what made it so intriguing. But it's so like ground level. The characters that we follow are just kind of messed up people, honestly. But the stuff that happens, I just felt so scared in this movie. I didn't know if I was more scared during Civil War or Long Legs. And I speaking of Long Legs, we didn't actually cover it this season, but people have that I know have watched it and just say it was okay. I feel like it's when now that people have overhyped it so much
Yeah.
and actually have heard things like, oh, the premise of like FBI agent, serial killer, they compare it to Silence of the Lambs, which is a bit much. Um, they get like this huge like, oh, it's the best movie. It's the freaking Shawshank Redemption. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's a good movie. And but I feel like for us, like we just went in blind.
Yeah.
I wish people could have had that experience. But that's usually how word of mouth goes.
That is true. That is true. It's all about expectations sometimes, right?
Yeah, and I feel like that was the same for Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Because we kind of knew it was, A24, smaller film. Well, it was their biggest film,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A24's biggest film. So, but people don't go to the movies to be like, oh, I'm going to freaking blockbuster A24 movie. um,
Yeah.
but I feel like word of mouth helped Civil War, and just over time, it was like the same thing. People liked it at first,
Mm-hmm.
and then it got overhyped, and then people didn't like it as much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be
I
wrong.
No, no. I feel like that's a good pick. That's actually that would be an honorable mention for me as well, just because for me, I thought that the premise was kind of goofy. I mean, I'm not spoiling anything that's not outside of the trailer, but California and Texas on the same side was always sounded goofy to me. And then I think when we were honestly, coming up with the schedule, honestly, I thought Civil War was going to be more of a filler episode. But yeah, no, this is definitely in my top 10 of the year for sure. I would have to compile the list maybe at the end of the year, where if it'll end up there, we'll see. I think right now it's kind of in the middle, but I think it still has a chance to be at least near the bottom of that top 10 list by the end of the year, with some highly anticipated movies still yet to be released.
Yeah. And Nick Offerman is the president, Not the
Mhm.
most unrealistic thing in that movie.
That ending was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was kind of savage.
All right. The next award, one of our favorites, the RKO award, with the official one, where we choose a character from season 7 that we want to RKO the most. Basically, it's almost like the Malekith award, but to the extreme. Yeah. I need the sparks to fall on us. We're doing the Randy Orton pose, but I want to do
My
the full burn in my light.
Too bad my wall is like right here. I can't get my full wingspan going.
Ooh, but I'm
uh,
excited for yours, Ken. No
yeah.
Barbara Minerva in this one.
No, only because she's just disqualified.
Yeah,
The season 7 award. And but my RKO award winner, because I hear voices in my head, they cancel me. Yeah, to pick Cassandra Webb.
oh shoot!
Yes, Dakota Johnson's character in our favorite movie of the year. Hope I'm not spoiling that award for you. Just kidding. But Cassandra Webb, played by Dakota Johnson in Madam Web. Honestly, I don't blame her, the actress, uh, like literally for her character, but she was just written so awful because like she came off as very unlikable to me.
Yeah,
Like the purpose of a protagonist or a leading actor or actress is that you want to be invested emotionally in a character. That way you kind of feel the like the emotional hits, physical hits, everything, and then you kind of relate to the character. You kind of sometimes you see a little, little bits of yourself in them. But man, she was just written just so poorly. And yeah, I don't know. I don't blame her, but it's literally just the character that Sony decided to portray in this movie. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, because like you said, a well written character is gonna emphasize the role that they're trying to,
Hmm.
accentuate. It's just like we're supposed to like her, but the way she comes off is very unlikable.
Hmm.
Or, a good protagonist, even if they're like, or your POV character, if they're gonna be someone kind of messed up, like let's say the main character from Whiplash, right?
Uh-huh.
You're
Uh-huh.
kind of supposed to be like cheering for him, but sometimes like, what the hell, this guy's an idiot,
Ooh, yeah.
right? It's like, but that's it. A well written character, you buy into everything that they do. Like you said, you're invested.
Yeah.
But the movie was telling you to like her when you just didn't.
Yeah. It would have been better if we just had more interactions. I the one of the things that I did like, there was some redeeming qualities, was her some of the interactions that she had with the high school girls, led by Sydney Sweeney. So I mean, she played that mentor role a little bit, so it kind of redeemed her character just a little bit.
I mean, she left them in the woods for three
But she left them in
hours.
the woods. Yeah, there's like certain things like that. It's like, don't just stay there in this creepy dark woods. Don't move. And so, I mean, what can go wrong in deep in the woods?
Okay, so my winner for my RKO award this season, I'll give you a hint, and this will be easy for people that are actually watching us on video. So here's my hint. Hang on, I can't do it. It's gonna be like this. Yeah, okay, here thank you, Dino, for
Hey, what's up, Dino?
so what's up? So here it is. I'll use Dino's little prompt. It's gonna be, what's up, bros? Do you know what it is?
Yes. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
yes. It's, for those who's watching the video, it's Ezekiel Sims from the same movie, Madam Web. My God, dude. What a bad character. And
Yeah.
like you said, we don't blame the cast. Everything's pretty much a crapshoot in that movie.
Yeah.
um it's just that movie. Holy crap. His dubs, he was basically dubbed 98% of the time. His motivations did not make sense. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I saw these teenage girls attack me in my dreams. I'm going to go find them and kill them." Delivered just like that though, in the most mundane way.
Holy shoot.
Man. Yeah,
That
that
was
was
pretty bad. Well, I didn't realize that the RK. I'm not surprised that the RKO award was swept by Madam Web.
honorable mention for me, or this honorable mention, Anxiety from Inside Out 2.
Because she was that good.
Yeah, it was a good one, right? It was
Yeah.
Anxiety was so frustrating to the point I wanted to RKO it.
Yes.
But it was a well
It's too real.
Yeah,
Huh?
it's
It's too real, huh?
But I have to give it to Ezekiel Sims. Freaking dubs, man.
Shoot.
Let's go with, this is gonna be a hard one.
Yeah.
Best movie of season 7. Because we had how many episodes? 18 episodes?
18 movies this
18
this
movies?
season. Yeah.
Ooh, so Ken, you're gonna be able to choose whichever one you want. We got 3 Glenn Powell movies in there, so he has a pretty good chance.
He's got the best chance. Him and Henry Cavill.
Even though we mentioned 2 of Henry Cavill's that were kind of on the lower tier already.
Oh shoot. All right. My RKO award winner for best movie of season 7 has to still go to Dune Part 2. We've covered some bangers near the end. I think it really did start with Inside Out 2, and
Mm.
then we had some bangers like to close out the season with Twisters and Deadpool and Wolverine. But the more I looked at it, in terms of best movie, I think because of the scope, the the all the seeds that the original Dune set up, and we got a huge payoff, and we got the beginnings, or some, what do you call it, some breadcrumbs of some heel turns, we'll just say. I won't say
Mm.
who, but it's setting stuff up for like another potentially epic third act of this Dune franchise. And so, as much as I was tempted to pick a Glenn Powell movie, because I feel like, okay, best movie is one thing, favorite movie, I feel like, can be a different thing. Those two
Mm.
things don't have to be mutually exclusive, because favorite movie, I think it's Dune Part 2 isn't my favorite movie of this season. But
But it's the
if we're
best movie.
but I feel like it's still the best movie,
Ah.
because okay, and this is my last point. Dune Part 2 has been out on Max for at least a month, maybe longer. I haven't rewatched it yet, but it's still the best movie of season 7 that we covered. You see, it's not one of those where you can just easily pick up and it's as rewatchable, but it's still,
Mm.
I think, the best movie of season 7.
Can I ask you what your favorite movie is?
It's a toss up between, let me look at the list.
Or do you
It's
want me to give my
Actually, you know what?
best
Go first.
Okay.
I don't want to step on your toes. I'll reveal that after. I have the
Okay.
list in front of me, by the way. Go ahead.
Okay.
I don't want to steal your thunder.
Yeah. If we're going specifically that criteria, I'm
It's
gonna
best
change
movie.
my answer. Yeah. Best movie.
Okay.
Best movie is not Dune Part 2. I'm just kidding. Honestly,
I didn't think it was for you.
Honestly, I almost put it under most surprising movie. I probably should have.
I'm surprised you didn't actually pick it. It's okay. I know that it's your favorite weekly reel episode. I'm just kidding.
For best movie, I wrote a different movie down because I
Okay.
think that's my favorite movie. Best movie, I would say Inside Out 2.
Ooh, okay.
The way, I don't know, like you said, when it comes out on streaming, I don't even know if it is right now.
It's still it's actually top 10 now of all time.
That's insane, dude. Which is
That's
crazy
all
to
time.
me.
1.52 billion. Holy.
I didn't know people like Inside Out that much.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really, really good movie. But like you, for Dune Part 2, I wouldn't really go out and try to like rewatch it right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll gladly rewatch it, but I wouldn't go chase out. I wouldn't chase it like right away, even though it has all the feelings.
Are you are you giving hints of what your actual favorite movie is?
Not quite, but I want to know.
Okay.
I want to know your favorite movie first.
Oh man. Let's see. Okay, I'm looking at the thing. Honestly, like favorite, I equate to rewatchable. It's got to be either of the last two movies, Deadpool and Wolverine, or Twisters.
Okay,
Those
I
movies are
totally
so
agree
good.
with you. The penultimate episode and the finale of this season are just too good. I personally am gonna choose Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
I feel like ever since we watched it, it's stuck
Yeah.
pretty hard. It's definitely not the perfect movie. Like, we got plenty
Yes.
of other movies this season that were technically better,
Yes.
but in terms of favorites, yeah, probably Deadpool and Wolverine for me.
Okay. I don't hate that. As evidenced by what I thought my favorite movie was.
Yeah. But speaking of favorites, we're going to go with favorite weekly reel episode. So this is our final RKO award for specifically season 7.
This is our best movie of the year.
Yeah,
Like with the Oscars. Is that how they? Is that the official title?
yeah, best picture.
Best
Like
picture. There you go. That's what it is. This is our
favorite,
best picture.
right? So this is it. Favorite weekly reel episode. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a good movie,
Hmm.
right? It has to be our favorite episode.
Easily. My winner for the RKO award for favorite weekly reel episode is this season 7 finale on Deadpool and Wolverine. I love the fact that you did the rapid fire questions so that we can at least touch on as many aspects as we could in that episode, especially with our current format. We don't really dive deep as we used to in the first
Yeah.
6 seasons of a movie, but to be able to at least touch on as many aspects of Deadpool and Wolverine, especially given the fact that there's so many breadcrumbs that they left, so many Easter eggs, so many different aspects, cameos, jokes. And obviously, this being the first real X-Men movie within the MCU was just it was fun. Just literally it brought me back to our roots of covering all those MCU movies early on in this podcast season, and it was hands down my favorite weekly reel episode for season 7.
Yeah, that was a really good episode. Had a lot of fun with that one, evidenced by it being one of my favorite movies
Mhm.
of the season, or the favorite movie of the season. And I feel like we had to give it its due for that, and it being the finale. We want to finish things off strong. My favorite weekly reel episode has to be Dune Part 2 because the amount
What? I feel like this is the most surprising thing ever. Holy crap! I didn't know
of
that.
of this season,
Yeah.
it's not a good movie. No, no, it is a good movie. Dune Part 2 is actually a good movie. But I love just like it one, we had Jacob
Our one
on
guest this
our,
season.
our one guest this season. I always like
Yeah.
when we have guests, and for us to talk about the movie and just really dig deep into some of the things and comparing it to Star Wars and all that stuff. But I think that feeling of being surprised that it was
Yeah.
actually that good and talking about it, and the running joke of how much I love the first one is will always stick with me. And do you? By the way, random aside, do you
Uh-huh.
remember which episode John Campia like popped in
Oh,
at?
that.
Was it
Don't you
Civil
mean all
War?
of them?
Yeah, that's true. He's the one viewer that keeps cutting in and out. It's either him or Glenn Powell.
Yeah. I don't remember, but
I think it might
yes,
be Civil War. It's like towards the end of the episode.
that was my favorite moment by far.
Yeah, yeah. If we were to have a favorite moment, like we had to do like so many double takes.
Me looking at the screen, just like, and then you just like, you're just talking, but I feel like you were really, I don't know. I felt like words were just coming out of your mouth, but you were still processing. Wait, did I just see that right?
Yeah, I'm glad that we have a live stream because if we were just recording video and all that stuff, we wouldn't have experienced that.
Nope.
If we were just recording audio. So that was one of the beauties of this season.
That was so good.
But Ken, that is it. I don't know if you want to mention anything else before we take a little bit of a break.
Well, I mean, season 7 was fun. I mean, I think we could have probably done this maybe a little bit earlier. I did enjoy some of the weeks where there wasn't a movie that we wanted to cover, so it gave us a time to kind of recharge a little bit and get some other stuff done. But season 7 was a nice experiment, especially with the live stream. So we definitely want to thank those that were active with our live stream, interacted with us. The questions and comments were so amazing just to be able to kind of do that with each and every one of you. And again, random surprises. So
Right. Season 7, like when I look back at the schedule, it's like, oh man, this is definitely one of our up. Like I love roller coaster seasons, and this
Yeah.
was one of them. And it being all new movies for us,
Mm-hmm.
it's like
Mm-hmm.
holy crap, it was pretty insane.
Yeah. Plus, it got me to platinum status already again for next year. I got it so early. So, I hope that I could kind of keep this up, just watching movies. And it's one of the goals of this podcast was to get me to watch more movies because I was always the TV guy. So, yeah, we have a part 2. We have a special segment. We have another possibly round of RKO. So, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, we're gonna take a little bit of a break, but maybe about 4 or 5 minutes or so. So, feel free to
Stay
take a break.
tuned.
Stay tuned in just a little bit. Go use the bathroom. Go look at your Glen Powell pictures. Maybe not in that
Whoa.
order. Maybe not in that order. Totally up to you. I don't judge.
Whoa.
And we'll see you in a few minutes for part 2 of the RKO Awards.
All right, welcome back from the break. This is ordinarily the time that we usually bust out with the soup du jour shtick that we usually do. But
Yeah,
hey,
typically.
this
This is the soup du jour.
this I know it's so weird not doing that, but yeah, this is our RKO Awards special, and we if you tuned into part one, we handed out our RKO Awards for season 7, but for this second part of the live stream, I just wanted to kind of get into this. I mean, obviously, Jeremy and I just completed 7 seasons of the Weekly Reel podcast, and it really does sadden me to say that this particular live stream, this episode of the RKO Awards for season 7, this may be a series finale of sorts for Jeremy and I and the Weekly Reel podcast. But as much as the Weekly Reel podcast became an escape from the everyday grind, we both understand that our careers really do come first. I won't say for sure that this podcast will completely go away, but the Weekly Reel full episodes that our audience has grown accustomed to will go on an indefinite hiatus, effective immediately. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it sounded a little morbid. I know that probably zapped a little bit of the thing, but we wanted to be kind of upfront and with the expectations moving forward with the Weekly Reel podcast, right, Jeremy?
Yeah. Like things in life, just pop up, and unfortunately, time is something that we have finite, limited amount, and as much as we want to make time for the podcast, it's like there's so many other things, and we wish, dude, imagine if we could do this full time, as our career. I would definitely do it. Unfortunately, things don't roll or fall away. It does. It's like, man, I see other shows. I'm like, damn, I wish we could do that. But life moves on, and the podcast itself, may not stay the same. Maybe we'll pop up on TikTok or Instagram every once in a while, and we're still gonna be watching movies together and all that stuff,
Yep.
and talking about movies offline, or sometimes if we feel up to it, and maybe a TikTok here and there.
Yep.
But the way things are kind of falling right now, we are a little bit in a shaky area, so we can't say for sure that season 8 is coming on a certain date. So, we're kind of just calling it we're hanging up the belts for now.
I missed that belt, by the way.
Yeah, no, come and borrow it, man. Like, for sure. Like, hang it up on your wall. You probably have more space than I do to display it, so feel free.
I couldn't do that in good faith. I haven't won it the last 3 seasons.
No, dude, trust me. Like, you should hold on to it for a little bit too, just to enjoy it.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, so we'll say all our thank yous at the very end. I know this is like, oh, it's so sad news all of a sudden, but we're gonna go down memory lane a little bit, right,
Yeah.
Ken?
Yes, we will be, but yeah, we'll get into all that at the end of this live stream. But yeah, we just wanted to kind of put that up front, moving forward. That way, we set that expectation. So that being said, obviously, I mentioned it. Part 1 of this live stream, we handed out our RKO awards for season 7, and so since this might be our series finale of the Weekly Reel podcast, we thought it would be fun to hand out our RKO Lifetime Achievement Awards. And so this will span across all 7 seasons, where, I mean, again, we'll go through the same, well, minus the Soup du Jour award that we handed out. We're going to give out the same 5 awards, but this time it's our Lifetime Achievement Award. And so spanning across seasons 1 through 7, Jeremy, our first award that we're going to give out is our most disappointing movie ever. I mean, and we've covered more than the I don't even know how many I don't know how many movies we covered officially, because again, there was a couple episodes where we did three or even two or three episodes. So, um,
Mm.
which was your most disappointing movie that we've ever covered in 7 seasons?
Oh man, it's a very hard question. These lifetime achievement awards, and I feel bad just saying it for these movies. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? This award, most disappointing movie, one that stood out to me because I was the one who recommended it, or saying that we should watch it to you and Andrea.
Oh,
Josie, the tiger, and the fish.
ooh, I didn't even think about that one.
Yeah, see, exactly. It's like I remember being so hyped for this movie. I have
Yeah.
a dishonorable mention, but Josie, the tiger, and the fish. I remember it's like, dude, this is like the next freaking tearjerker, your name thing that I could bring to the table. I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna experience it for the first time with Ken and Andrea. It's like, oh, this is. I think I gave it a fresh score. Honestly, I can't remember what happened in the movie.
I can't remember it either. I think I gave it a at least a borderline. I think I liked it because again, this was anime movies was actually one of those genres that I hadn't watched really anything, no exposure. Both, obviously, mainly you, but also Andrea. Shout out to Andrea, by the way, who is an integral part of several seasons of the podcast. You guys like kind of put anime on my radar a little bit, and so I hope to, especially with potentially a little bit more spare free time, I get to kind of explore, do my own exploring, not having you to like, hey, watch this.
Yeah, so I'll mention my dishonorable mention after you though.
Oh, okay, all right. So for my most disappointing movie, uh, and winner of the RKO Lifetime Achievement Award, all the way in season one, Jeremy, I think you know where where I'm going with this. Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh shoot!
I know it's low hanging fruit,
Yeah,
but
you have to go for it.
I had to because not only obviously did we start this podcast in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic, so that put a halt on anything new. Our very first new movie that we cover was a movie that we were all hyped for. It was the fact that it was going to be available streaming for then. Back then, it was still called HBO Max, so we didn't have to go to the theater to do so. Um, they hand delivered it to us,
Yeah,
and this is coming off the heels of a very successful first Wonder Woman. It was such a good movie, and for it to fall so flat, I was genuinely disappointed in the fact that it was not even that good. It was just entertaining for all the wrong reasons. Heck, we named an award show after partly after this a character in this movie. It became just memeable to us, and yeah, I don't know. It was just an all around bad movie. It just made for a fun episode for me, you, and your brother to kind of trash on the movie. But yeah, it was memorable for all the wrong reasons, I should say.
yeah. Like this point, like the level of the first movie was here, and then
Yeah.
it went way down in just one movie. It's insane.
Same director too.
Same
Same
director.
same leading character, same everything. It's just obviously a different time period, right?
Yeah, and what made it
1984.
worse, I watched it on a laptop as I sat in a motel with the virus. I was
The Ro- the,
quarantined,
the Rona.
and then it's like, okay, it's like, oh, at least the one good thing I can watch HBO Max and watch Wonder Woman, and I'm watching. I'm like, man, it's like maybe we'll take a break, bro. It's like after like an hour, it's like we'll finish the rest later. I'm
Um,
pretty sure he fell asleep. I don't know if it was just because he was fatigued. I think I paused it because he was falling asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost forgot you guys were quarantined. Like
Yeah.
literally legit quarantined in the most sketchiest motel ever. And y'all had no taste buds. Man, it
Yeah.
was yeah, that must have been an experience. Whew.
Yeah. And then freaking 1984 just made the experience even more crazy.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad. All right, let's move on to the next lifetime RKO Lifetime Achievement Award. This time, we're again giving out the one for most surprising movie across all seasons. So, Jeremy, which one was the one that surprised you the most?
I don't know if this is a surprise or not. Well, it should be, hopefully. Most surprising movie. I am giving it to The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Because that movie, one, it was one of my favorite episodes that we recorded. But our experience in the theater, because we didn't know if it was going to be good, right? That's what made
Yeah,
it surprising.
yeah.
But we were cracking up in the movie theater. It was insane. Like our crowd was so confused. I'm like, don't you guys know this is not a freaking like autobiography freaking movie? This is Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal on freaking LSD. I'm
So
like,
good.
it was like such a good time through and through, and such a rewatchable movie. Because Nick Cage, has been hit or miss,
Mhm,
right? And for us to cover Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent and for it to be one of my favorite Nick Cage movies
mhm.
is like insane.
It's so good that I obviously I took the time to actually own this one, but also this movie got me to watch Paddington and Paddington 2.
That's so weird. I haven't watched it yet, but you said they're actually good. And I'm
They're
like,
actually really good, especially the second one. It's the third best movie of all time, apparently.
I gotta watch it now. I'm gonna turn into Nick Cage.
Well, no, you're gonna turn into Pedro Pascal.
I fucking told you.
I forgot about that, but I forgot they did actually watch it on screen, quote
Yeah.
unquote. Oh man, but yeah, I if you ever do watch Paddington and or Paddington, I think you need to watch the first one to watch to appreciate the second one.
Of course.
But if you ever watch Paddington 2, I kind of want to know what your initial reaction is to that. So if you could text me after you watch the movie,
Yeah.
I don't care what time. I have do not disturb on usually if you watch it in the middle of the night anyway. Just let me know. I just want to know your
Yeah.
immediate thoughts right after.
Okay.
I'm just kind of curious. Anyway, for my RKO Lifetime Achievement Award for Most Surprising Movie, I have to go with another early movie. I'm gonna try to, test your memory, bro. Do you remember a movie we covered called Wrath of Man?
Oh shoot!
Yeah,
Damn.
dude. I had no expectations. Again, it's just a strange coincidence that it was you, me, and your brother that watched this movie. I just remember walking out of that movie like, "Whoa, that was so good!" I had no expectations. Didn't know what to expect. Obviously, it's a Guy Ritchie movie, so I had just though like whatever his style is. But man, I didn't think it was gonna be that good. I had the different timelines, the different POVs. The twists were great. The action was top notch.
Right.
Um, dude, for large chunks of that year, it was near the top of my best movie of the year. I mean,
Yeah.
it was slim pickings at the time because we were still wearing masks during that time at the theater. But that movie was a genuine surprise for me.
And the theater experience was really good too.
Mm-hmm.
It was loud. It
Mm-hmm.
was quiet when it needed to be. You get the jumps. You get the action. And like Jason Statham or like Nicolas Cage, Jason Statham's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
50-50 on his
Yeah, yeah,
movies. But
yeah.
this is definitely one of his better ones.
I agree. I agree. So, yeah, like whenever I get a chance to, if I happen to see it, and if I have a couple hour blocks, yeah, couple hours to kill or whatever, I definitely I'd put on Wrath of Man on rewatch,
Yeah.
reminisce a little bit. So yeah, um, of course, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, that's a good pull as well. So that's definitely up there as well for me. Anyway, let's move on to our next RKO Lifetime Achievement Award. Um, this one's my favorite. Obviously, we're gonna give out the actual RKO award for the character we wanted to RKO the most. This whole run that we've had with this podcast, we've only started giving it out in season 5. So I'm curious to know if there was a character maybe in the first 4 seasons that you wanted to RKO the most.
Can I give like a top 3?
Yeah, it's our podcast. We can do whatever we want. Go for
All
it.
right, all right. And I feel like you're not going to choose any of these.
Okay.
Well, maybe one. But at number 3, I would say Paul Atreides from the first Dune. I did not like him. I think that was one of the main reasons I did not like the first Dune. Is just his characterization in the first one. It's just so bland
Mhm.
and monotone, and like when he tried to act tough, I did not buy into it at all. And so I was like, ah. But and then he turned heel. And then I'm like, well, spoilers, I guess, but whatever. But when he turned heel in freaking part 2, I'm like, all right, this is what I wanted to see then.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's
Sometimes
like,
sometimes characters are just better heels than faces, right?
yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. At number 2,
By the way, because we like WWE,
yeah.
just sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
In the beginning, The Rock absolutely sucked as a face, Rocky Maivia. But
Yep.
when he became heel, that's actually where his whole shtick. That's where I think he's just a natural heel. He's better as a heel than he is as a face.
Mm-hmm. Just like,
So
Hobbs and Shaw, like his
yeah.
Hobbs in Fast 5,
Mm-hmm.
top notch right there.
Yes.
Number 2, Sharpay Evans.
Whoa! Yes, I forgot we covered
Yeah,
those movies.
yes, the High School Musical movies. I'm bringing them back.
Okay.
Yeah, Sharpay with, I don't know, man. Like the more I watch those movies, it's just like I felt like they were entertaining, but now like when I rewatch those and like Sharpay, man, it's kind of annoying now. It's because you root for the other characters, but you knew this was coming, Ken. At number 1, I didn't want, like, this is Lifetime Achievement Awards, and if anyone's gonna get the RKO award, it has to be to the kid himself who ruined the entire movie, Amon, the skateboarding, cape wearing asshole that should have been rock bottomed through the entire face of the earth by Black Adam himself. And that was no surprise. I had to give it.
Oh man, that's so good. That's so good. I'm definitely not surprised. Ah, ooh. Anyway, one random thought to Sharpay, just because again, well, you started obviously Andrea, and then eventually Jacob hopped on subsequent sequels, right?
Yeah.
Andrea hopped on the second one, and then both Andrea and Jacob, we ended up doing a double feature with the 4 of us for the third one. I remember watching High School Musical, the original, the first time. It really did. It did make me want to be that one character in Hereditary. Whenever I saw would be, whenever I'd see Sharpay on screen, that let me just stick my head out of the car and then let's just run into a pole.
Seriously. Oh man.
It was bad.
It was pretty bad.
All right. Well, Lifetime Achievement Award. I decided to get creative with mine, Jeremy.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So my winner for the Lifetime Achievement Award for the RKO Award, the character I want to RKO the most, is Black Adam.
Wow.
One, for getting our hopes up for another Henry Cavill Superman appearance and a
True.
potential movie. Yeah, it was like, oh shoot, he's back. Even though it got spoiled, he basically purposely spoiled it so that he could get more people to watch his movie. Then nothing came of it. I talked about it. It's kind of a minor spoiler alert for our season 7 finale about how we were talking about Kang. The reason why we hate Quantum is because in the end it absolutely means nothing.
Yeah.
That whole ending just means absolutely nothing now. And it got our hopes up for a Henry Cavill Superman appearance. And second and most importantly, he's friends with Amon.
I know. It's like the one thing that you couldn't do is freaking.
He introduced us to Amon.
What have you done? You should have rock bottom. Like I said, man, people's elbow him on into the sun.
Yeah. So I want to RKO Black Adam.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Coming from that movie, both of them.
Oh shoot. But yeah, you said it with Amon. He's definitely. I mean, we should just call it the Amon Award.
I mean, there's plenty of bad characters to go all around.
Agreed. All right, Jeremy. Meat and potatoes. Our penultimate lifetime achievement award. We're giving it out for best movie. And again, this is the absolute best movie. You know what? Let's add favorite. Best movie, favorite movie, however you want to interpret it. Jeremy, out of all the movies that we've covered, seasons 1 through 7, what was the absolute best movie?
That's so hard. Because there are definitely movies that we covered that are in my top 5 of like all time. You know? But I think this comes to no surprise that I'm choosing Your Name. Because I know we watched like Shawshank Redemption, we watched Nightcrawler, like we watched, Pulp Fiction, all these stuff in like season 1, freaking
Top Gun Maverick.
2, you got freaking 3
Across the Spider-Verse. We got John Wick Chapter 4.
Right? Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yes.
Like,
Oppenheimer. I know you didn't like it as much, but it won Best Picture.
Yeah. Oppenheimer. We didn't cover Barbie, unfortunately, for people.
Yeah. Right.
But across the board, it's just like Your Name. I know I'm the one who recommended it and forced us to watch it, but it's like sharing it with you. I think was made the movie even more special for us to cover it in season 1 and talk about it in a different lens. It's just like when you have something and you only have it to yourself, it's like, oh, it's fine. But when you share it with someone, I think it makes it more special.
Yes, it's actually one of the things that I have on my to-do list before my very first trip to Japan is to rewatch Your Name and some of these other movies that you've recommended, especially Your Name, though. I plan on listening to the soundtrack a lot.
First View of Tokyo.
Yeah, First View of Tokyo. I'm literally gonna be playing that in my my AirPods, and I'm just gonna look in wonder of I don't know. I that's one of the movies that I feel like it's still my absolute favorite movie that you've recommended to me. Like in terms of rewatchability. I don't think it's the absolute best movie.
Mm-hmm.
That may be a toss between Your Name and Whiplash, but I think it's the most rewatchable movie. I think I've spent the most minutes or hours, I should say, most hours immersed in that world, whether I'm rewatching the movie or subsequent movies in the Makoto Shinkai universe, or just listening to Radwimps, and just being in there while I'm trying to get through another day at work.
Yeah.
So
And
good.
I love how it's all in like the same universe. So it's like when you listen to Weathering with You, Susume, Your Name, you just in that zone. So I'm excited for you for Japan.
Yeah, dude. It's the movies that I'll have on my iPad for sure. For my RKO Lifetime Achievement for Best Movie, Actually, you know what? Do you want to give at least one guess as what you think my winner would be?
High School Musical 2. No, I'm just kidding. No.
I'll give you as many guesses as you want, actually.
Shoot. You said it's not Whiplash?
Uh, well,
Best
it,
movie. Let's
best
see.
movie. Okay, yeah, we could cross that off. It's not Whiplash.
And it's not Tenet. No, that would be Jacobs, honestly.
That's true.
Uh, I'm gonna say shoot. It's not Dirty Dancing.
Actually, that was in the running for most surprising movie.
There you go. Definitely freaking A Walk to Remember. Definitely. Dude, when they at work, they play like the 80s, 90s, early 2000s radio, and they play like freaking Only Hope by Squidfoot and Dare You to Move. And like those
Bro.
versions by Switchfoot, I'm like, brings me back to that episode. Just a random aside.
That was a good episode.
Can I also guess Top Gun Maverick?
No, it's not it. It's not the winner.
Can you tell me what season? Or
No,
between
that'll
what
give it.
seasons?
That'll give it away.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
shoot. Oppenheimer.
Nope.
Damn. What are the movies have we covered? It's like Shawshank.
Nope.
It's not an MCU movie?
Nope.
I mean, we covered all of them. Pretty much, except for the Marvels.
Except for the Marvels, yeah. It's the Marvels.
It's the Marvels. Shoot. Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent?
Nope. I mean, you mentioned a lot of good movies.
It's over. It's over. I got it. It's Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt that the best movie that we've covered is the movie that we covered twice? That's
We covered it one time to be dumb, a second time to be dumber.
you took the words out of my mouth, man.
Shoot, I got there when I said unbearable weight. I'm like, oh shoot, wait a minute. Comedy. There you go.
It's literally the best movie that we've ever covered. So good. Well, again, episode 1. It's so cringy to listen to.
Yeah.
But it's the adrenaline of our very first full podcast that we did together. But it's a movie that's near and dear to my heart. It's literally, once I get my letterboxed up, because it only allows you to have 4 movies, Dumb and Dumber is easily gonna be up there at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so quotable. We've created a show after it. We've created different themes. We quote so much of the movie throughout the season. And then we did a weekly reel loaded episode 100, where we dissected other parts of the movie that we weren't able to cover in episode 1. And I feel like we still missed a few things. I feel like we could do a we could do a third one.
Yeah, seriously, dude. Like, episode 100 is honestly one of my favorites. Also,
Yeah.
just because at that point in time we were more comfortable doing a podcast, and like you said, when you listen to episode 1, it's a little rough. But going into episode 100, I feel like we definitely settled in and we covered a lot more stuff for that movie. But that's dude, such a good movie.
Yeah, because one of our pieces of homework that we had for episode 100 was to try not to rehash any of the stuff that we covered in episode 1. So we had to listen to episode 1 in its entirety, and man, that was cringy. But again, it just shows like the growth that we've had over those first 100 episodes. And obviously we had 128 like regular episodes. We've had 50. This is going to be we've had technically 54 newsreel episodes. We've had 18 soup du jour episodes, and now this is like a standalone RKO Awards episode for this live stream. I can't do the math right now, but that movie
almost 200, right? It's almost 200 episodes.
Yeah, it's actually over 200.
Oh, it is. Whoops.
Yeah.
Can't do
Well,
math.
because I haven't released the last. It'll end up being 202.
Dang, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and that's including, I guess, the. Actually, no, it'll be exactly 200. Holy crap! Because we have 2 trailers.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Oh
One
shoot.
one of them, I feel like is super cringy. Just
The very
like
first one.
the very first thing we ever recorded, really.
Ooh.
And then, yeah, the other trailer.
Yeah, man. But when I was looking through each of our lists, well, the whole list, our catalog for best movie, I was like, this is like the easiest thing. I'm like, dude, we created 2 episodes for it. So yeah, best movie, Dumb and Dumber. Uh, it's so good. Anyway,
It is.
this is our best picture Oscars, but I mean, Lifetime Achievement Award now for favorite weekly reel episode. Jeremy, I went a different route with mine. I'm curious if you went the same route though.
Really?
Jeremy, I don't know. But so Jeremy, what was your absolute favorite weekly reel episode that you remember?
I think I'm pretty sure I gave this one out before, but it's gonna be the Spider-Man No Way Home episode. For us to do a 4-person pod
For the
is
first time.
kind of crazy. Yeah, the
Yeah.
first one, and to experience that movie one with all of you guys, and then talk about it. It was just an amazing experience in terms of rehashing that. It was a super long, extra long episode for, I don't know. I feel like that's such a nostalgia trip movie. And now looking back at the episode, I get nostalgic about talking about with Jacob and my brother Jeff. So I would probably say, well, that's one of my favorite in terms of like positive. I think we had so many like good things to say, and we're just chilling out. Probably one of my favorite episodes.
We could have gone at least another hour. I feel like
Yeah.
because we didn't cover everything.
Yeah, we could have probably done a second episode on it.
Oh, yeah, we could have done a reloaded episode on that as well. But no, that one was that's definitely my top 3 episodes of all time.
Mhm.
Because my absolute favorite episode for the favorite weekly reel episode, I should say, and winner of the RKO Lifetime Achievement Award. If I disqualified the Dumb and Dumber episodes, by the way, for
Yeah.
this one.
I think.
It wasn't even include. It wasn't even. I wasn't even directly involved in it, but I remember the reactions when I posted the recast reel on this, and it was a genuine whoa. I don't know if that kind of gave away where I'm going with this, but my favorite episode was the Anastasia episode with Andrea.
Uh huh.
When y'all went back and forth, I was like, oh my god, what is going on? What is happening? You'll see my reactions on Instagram for those couple of moments first when she went at you and then you went right back at her. The first time I was like, this is like one of the most entertaining things because it was just spontaneous. I had no idea that was gonna happen, and y'all got into it in like the funniest way. It was obviously good spirited and everything, but I remember that was probably the hardest I laughed throughout the each of one of the seasons. It was so good.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite moments was that Anastasia kind of showdown, and then also with Andrea in the Susume episode when she
Yeah.
realizes the kind of historical context of the movie. I think is
was
also one
good.
of my favorite moments.
The very end.
Yeah, the
When she
very
realized
at the
it's like,
very end.
what? Oh. She was a good sport. That
Yeah.
was good. I felt like her, what do you call it? Her presence really did add another element. I felt like it did bring us to another level. And it's obviously schedules didn't really line up this past season. She's a busy girl. She's running her own thing right now. And so shout out to her for sure. Some of the funniest moments were in episodes that she appeared. She appeared in her fair share
Yeah.
of episodes. I mean, I'd have to do a quick count, but yeah, she made a lot of appearances.
Yeah, and all her appearances were like in good, I mean not good movies, but I would say like she always gave a fresh set of eyes to each movie
Hmm.
for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, that one was my absolute favorite. I decided to go curveball on favorite weekly reel episode because that was a fun dynamic just to experience that. Again, that was the hardest I laughed throughout the all the seasons. I even went off camera for a little while.
Yeah.
I had to walk away. I had to do
Yeah.
the Tony Stark, the Iron Man from the first one. Just walk away.
That's that's such a good one.
Oh man, well that was our final lifetime achievement RKO award that we gave out. Obviously we want to end this live stream the way we normally would with one last thing, but this time, Jeremy, for one last thing, what is the most anticipated movie or TV show that has been officially announced that you're looking forward to the most? It could be later this year, it could be next year, it could be a couple years from now.
Mm.
If it's something that you know is officially announced and will be released, what is the most anticipated movie or TV show that you're looking forward to the most?
Okay, I'm pretty sure this is officially announced. But The Batman 2,
Oh, it is. That is
right?
so good. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
That's a good one.
I would probably say it's my most anticipated. I was almost gonna say Superman. You know, those are my two favorite superheroes of all time.
Mhm.
But the Batman 2, it could either. I hope it doesn't go Wonder Woman 1984 route until we take a huge freaking dip, or it can turn into the freaking Dark Knight. You know what I mean? But that's probably the one that I'm most curious and most hyped to see. Is Batman is like my favorite character of all time. Probably not even just superhero, but like character.
Mm.
And yeah, I would love to see how that goes for Robert Pattinson's The Batman 2.
I'm actually really curious how the Penguin will connect the two movies.
Yeah, the TV show. Do you know when that's coming out? I'm not sure.
I think later this year.
Yeah.
Here, I could look it up real quick.
I mean, freaking Max though. I feel
Mhm.
like Max is just going downhill.
It is. It's got some weird stuff, weird choices, um, that they're going through. So let's see. On IMDb, the Penguin is due to release on. I don't know why my internet's a little slow. Like
Hmm,
September
Let's see.
19th.
Oh,
So next
okay.
month.
Yeah. It's pretty fast.
Agreed. So yeah, it's something to watch on the horizon. That's a good pick. It's a good pick. I almost picked Superman as well, but I still am a TV guy at heart. So for my one last thing, the most anticipated TV show that I have, The Last of Us season 2.
Mm,
I keep hearing that the video game's not as good, the sequel compared to the first one. So I have that in the back of my mind, but because I absolutely love the first one, I just want to see how it turns out if they make changes compared to the video game or whatnot. Now that I'll have a little bit extra time, that's more PS5 time. I haven't touched my PS5 in forever. So
yeah.
I plan on gaming a lot more. I'm not a online player, so don't try to ask for my gamer tag. I'm
Yeah.
shy. It's been a
I,
while.
I don't know if you noticed, Ken, there's someone keeps popping in and out of our stream.
Yeah.
John Campia, come on,
Hi.
say something.
Yeah, no,
Come
just
on, John, hurry
drop
up.
drop a comment.
I know you're there, John. Freaking. But yeah, the Last of Us season 2 is I'm pretty sure it's gonna be good. Honestly, I didn't like the story of Last of Us Part 2, the game, just
Mhm.
because as a story, I think it works, and I think the show, if you're just a watcher, as a third person watching, it's gonna be good. But playing the game
Mhm.
and the stuff that you have to go through as the person controlling the characters, didn't like sit well with me for part two. But as a show, I bet it's gonna be good.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for making that distinction between game and possibly what we'll be seeing in season 2. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. It's one of the most rewatched recent shows that I've had since some of my favorites kind of ended or whatever. But yeah, looking forward to that. So Jeremy, I know that this is our possible series finale. Are there any plugs? It could be social media plugs, maybe potential movie related stuff that you may have. I know you're going to be really busy on, with your career and everything, but if I know you have like the hot toys stuff going on,
Mm-hmm.
is there anything that you would potentially foresee doing in these in the next year or so? I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know if I would create anything like movie related. I like our stuff that we do.
Mhm.
Um, I would maybe, the hot toys collecting stuff. I thought about getting into like figure photography or figure videos. So that's something I've been kind of toying with. Other than that, like you said, time is a little bit limited.
Yeah.
So that might be the closest thing, but
Okay.
you know, um at JP underscore flicks on Instagram. I'll be there once in a while.
Yeah, yeah. 3 months later, 8 months later, 2 years later.
I'll respond for sure, but don't count on it within 5 business days.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, all I'll say, and I'm not trying to be all big brothery on you, but make sure to have that little escape, whether it is the hot toys. I know you're going to be super super busy in the very very near future.
Mhm.
Just make sure that you have something else kind of going on, whether it's just a personal life or a hobby or something. Just so that you can have that balance. That's all I'll
Yeah, for
say.
sure. And for
That's my
you,
TED
man,
talk for today.
like all the stuff that I know, like that you want to do,
Yeah.
is gonna be interesting now that we might not have the podcast going forward.
Yeah. For me, it's for my I guess plugs again. Just follow me on Instagram. I think that's in terms of like interacting DMs or whatever. It's at FreeKenA is probably the easiest way to reach out. At free_Ken_A on Instagram. I have a few ideas cooking up. I'm thinking of bringing back the Flip a Binge moniker, whether that's on TikTok and Instagram. I haven't officially created the TikTok. Don't steal it, but because I plan on using it. Um, but yeah, at Flip a Binge, I reactivated the Instagram fairly recently. I might do some TV stuff there, some older movie stuff on there. There's especially doing the soup du jour episodes. I
Mhm.
realize how many old movies that I've missed because I've always been a TV guy, and so I want to revisit some movies that I've been missing. So I kind of want to do what we've been doing on the on the weekly reel TikTok over on the Flip a Binge side, and so I might vlog. I might play more video games. I'll have a little bit more free time,
Mhm.
but also I might pivot to different career choices too. I mean, I feel like everything's on the table. Nothing's really set right now.
Yeah.
So just count on Jeremy and I being really busy moving forward. But it will be nice to have a little bit of extra time. I think the first thing, first and foremost, I want to get back to like health, possibly running in the next couple months. So, um, I got to listen to my unofficial physical therapist over here,
Yeah.
Jeremy,
You gotta
so I don't hurt
prepare for the
myself.
Disney run, the Disneyland one. That would be
Yeah,
sick.
and our 24/7 documentary, right?
That's gonna come up.
So good. If we pull that off,
That would be
that's gonna be
insane.
like the funniest thing. Oh man! All right, social media plugs for the weekly reel. Jeremy, do you want to talk about the YouTube? This was your baby.
Yeah, YouTube is like, I've been living on YouTube forever, so I wanted to freaking get the Weekly Reel podcast on YouTube, and
Yeah.
here we are now doing live streams and all that stuff, doing the soup du jours. But yeah, YouTube has all our videos. We gotta have put our faces on here and do live streams. So the Weekly Reel podcast on YouTube, and yeah, subscribe, support us any way you can.
Mm-hmm. Also, we started becoming very active within this past season for TikTok at Weekly Real Pod. So I'm not going to put pressure on Jeremy just because I know that he's going to be really busy. I'll leave it open ended for him. But if there is a movie that I myself, a new movie, and I'm going to use this channel, this space for strictly new movies. If there is a new movie that I feel compelled to do an instant reaction, real review, non spoiler, or possibly even get to the point where we're doing spoiler reviews, quick hit like thoughts on certain aspects of especially a big release, be on the lookout. I will post on our Weekly Real Pod TikTok as well as our at Weekly Real Instagram. I have no idea what it'll look like in terms of like whether it's going to be exclusive on one platform or another, especially if TikTok eventually goes away. Who knows
Yeah.
that how that saga will end? But just know that there's going to be updates from time to time on both Instagram at Weekly Reel and TikTok at Weekly Reel Pod.
Yeah, yeah. So make sure you follow us on those socials, and yeah, it's been a ride, man.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, since this is quite potentially a series finale, did you have any final thoughts on the podcast as a whole?
So thinking about that, we've done it for 4 years is insane. I remember my cat Laura being a little kitten. When we started, her scratching me during the middle of an episode. Um, Me going from that little office to being in a dormitory with freaking running college kids running around with a
Wrestling,
radiator, it being
wrestling.
90 degrees, yeah, musty,
Yeah.
and putting freaking ice cube trays on my laptop for us to record. But we got through it. We showed up rain or shine, sometimes even we're sick. There have been
COVID or
plenty of,
not.
yeah, seriously, dude. And yeah, I'm glad. Of course, there's movies I wish we covered or whatever,
Mhm.
but to have different 7 seasons is pretty insane. I thought like, oh, if we did a couple, that's fine or whatever. But now doing um 7 seasons and being comfortable, and I think just doing this podcast has helped be just grow ourselves in terms of communication, be a little bit more open, and I don't know, it's just been fun hanging out, man. I think it all started with just like I think we were out one day and just like we were talking, like, oh, imagine if we talked about movies, just recorded ourselves, and that's kind of how it started.
Yeah. No, this podcast has taught me a lot about myself. Um, to your point, for me, my love of podcasts kind of started kind of randomly. I've always enjoyed like sports talk radio back in my younger days, and then as radio kind of pivoted to podcasts, I would listen to certain podcasts about again various topics, mainly within the sports realm as well as TV shows or not really even about movies. It was mainly about certain TV shows that I had a huge fandom over, and I wanted to kind of dissect certain things. And the more and more I started listening to podcasts, it became one of my obsessions and one of the things that I was like, huh, I wonder what it would take to create a podcast because it was one of those where it's like, it would be so awkward to just create one up by myself. It would just be awkward just to talk to a camera, similar to like how we started vlogging for those couple of years in the mid 2010s.
Yeah.
So that when there would be those few times, when we weren't really hanging out regularly, but whenever we'd watch a movie, I would remember some of the most incredible insights would come from Jeremy. And it would be conversations that I would enjoy offline. And so the more and more I thought about it, it was like, huh, if I were to start a podcast, what would it be about? And when I ultimately settled on movies because it's subjective, it's a fun topic. The first person, the only person I really thought about was having that podcast tag team partner with Jeremy, and I feel like going through the whole pandemic lockdown and everything, the fact that we couldn't do anything, it just literally fast tracked us like
Yeah.
getting this podcast off the ground because there was nothing else to do.
Yeah, I mean, like there are podcasts that started in the pandemic that I've seen just not survive after that. Like, they go off and do their own thing. But I'm
Right.
glad that we stuck with it after the pandemic. Oh, after 2020, 2021. Here we are in 2024. Honestly, this is probably the longest like creative endeavor that I've like ever
Mm-hmm.
done. It's like 4 years and
Mm-hmm.
like 7 seasons, over 200 episodes.
Yep.
Has I don't know, just to say those things. I think proud of us to of producing those things. You editing a lot of that, basically almost all the episodes, and us hosting. Sometimes we need to make pivots if we're like sick. It's like, oh, bro, can you host this episode? I'm dying. It's like, yeah, sure, and vice versa.
Yep.
But the fact that we've done this, I think is, and I'm not ashamed to like share it with people.
Right.
Is like I'm like proud of to say that we've done the episodes that we did.
Yeah, no, this has been a very fun ride. This endeavor, just talking movies with you these last few years, was always like the thing that I would look forward to, like just especially since most of it was in the middle of the week, most of our recording sessions and now live streams that we've just incorporated. We literally tried every option, we've tried every idea that we've thought of. Just thinking about like stuff like that, the our meetings like in between seasons, like the whole process of it is something that I will definitely keep using for like everything that I do moving forward. It's a way of brainstorming of and trying to come up with this whole creative process. It's inspiring, really. And I it's something that I'm glad that we did. It's always been my escape from like a hard day at work, or if I was going through something like personally or whatever. It's something that I can just have fun with. And it always it was a lot of hard work, doing a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, but it was so worth it to be able to kind of experience this with, especially with family and everything. I know that
Mhm.
became a running joke after a while with all the fast movies, but yeah, I mean, I'm really glad that I did this with family. you know
Yeah, yeah, and I agree. It's whenever we went on like hiatus or breaks in between seasons, it was like, oh, it I felt like our show kind of like grounded like my week pretty much. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, it's
Yep.
Wednesday. And here we are with a weekly podcast. And sometimes it gets a little stressful, right? Like after the
Yeah.
work day, and it's like, oh great, I have to work on my outline, I have to work on my notes. But once you like sit down and start talking about the movie, and we start talking with each other and giving our insights, it just like it kind of just grounds you, puts you in the moment, puts you in the present, and it's like, oh, I guess things aren't so bad, you know,
Yep.
and then it kind of resets your week.
Yep.
And for when we didn't have that, it's like, oh, what am I gonna do? You know,
Yeah.
it's like now it's like what's yeah. So it's kind of a bit of an escape. Watching movies has always been an escape for me, and now, um, you know, the podcast has been an escape. And people have, you know, asked me, it's like, you know, how why do you do the podcast?
Yeah.
It's like, and it's very hard thing to describe. It's like, oh, do you guys, how much money do you guys make from it? None. It's like,
Yeah.
um, it's like we're just having a good time, and I think that was one of my favorite things, just hanging out with you
Yep.
on and offline, just like talking crap about the movie and just having a good time.
Yeah, it was one of the core things that this podcast was, the kind of the foundation was, okay, I don't care like if we don't make any money on it. We just want to have fun.
Hmm.
And for me, like the thing I learned about the most about myself and the thing that developed the most, I remember before the podcast when I was wanting to write certain things or kind of formulate ideas, I would always double, triple, 4 or 5 times just second guess myself. As this podcast has gone along, I can articulate ideas so much quicker than I used to because I would always, is this good enough? And like my writing style would be like kind of bloated, I think. But I feel like this podcast has helped me just streamline a lot of my thoughts as much as I can. If I, yeah, I feel like I'm not where I want to be in terms of like trying to think on the spot, but it's gotten so much better. Just to be able to have these spontaneous conversations and to be able to just read and react based off of things. I feel like it's a huge skill to learn, just communicating with people and to develop that chemistry over 7 seasons has just been pretty cool. Just because I feel like now you you can think what I'm thinking. You already know what I'm thinking, and I already kind of know what you're thinking. We can kind of anticipate. That's why at certain times during the episodes, like, hey, try to guess what they.
Yeah,
More often than not, you'll guess me spot on. Read me like a book. I think it's just chemistry that just develops over time.
yeah, yeah. And you know, when we have guests on here, it's like kind of like, oh, we don't know how to react to them, and it's just like, you know, people in real in that we go in our day to day. You kind of sneak in a joke, see how they react, just
Right.
like our guests here and with each other. It's like, oh, kind of learning communication and finding what's entertaining. You know, we have
Hmm.
this persona that we could put here on the show, but you know, once we get offline, it's like, ah, we're kind of back into our day to day. So,
Hmm.
but the show has been so fun and it's been a great outlet for us to be creative.
Yep. And again, this is not necessarily a for sure goodbye. It's a goodbye for now. Who knows? We may pick this up a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the line or whatever, and continue with season 8. But I would never close the door on any of this, especially if our availability opens up like it had the last 4 years. And so, before we close out our potential last live stream, I do want to thank all the guests that have been on board from season 1 through, obviously this season we only had one guest, but I want to definitely throw a huge shout out to Jacob. I mean, he appeared on a lot of these episodes, especially Andrea as well. She probably appeared in the most, if not the second most episodes, and then she ran our social media accounts, and she kind of showed us how to kind of do that a little bit
Yeah.
more effectively. She ran some marketing um, promotions with our giveaways and everything. I never thought we'd do anything like that, but
Right.
Jacob and Andrea for sure definitely want to shout them out first. But other um, regular recurring guests include our nephew AJ, Joash, obviously Francis, Caesar. Want to shout him out as well. Michael and our cousin Aldrin, and obviously Jackie, she appeared on a couple of episodes, and obviously, definitely don't want to forget Jeremy's biological brother
Oh yeah,
and my
yeah.
cousin Jeff. He's appeared on a couple of episodes, a couple of memorable episodes, and so I think I got everyone.
I believe so.
I think I
I
did.
mean,
So
and especially for all the people that commented, off the top of my head, you got Sean, you got Jan, you
yes,
got I think
Dino.
Dino's here today. But everyone that's commented, watching us on our live streams, have commented on our Instagrams. Heck, I
John
think we even got
Campea.
John Campia is there. You know, even someone like emailed us, you know, and we would have, or especially like Michael, for example, like would DM us and they actually got on an episode. So it's like,
Yep.
you know, stuff like that was always cool to meet new
Interact.
people. Yeah,
Yep.
interact.
But yeah, no, also want to thank those that supported the fact that this was a passion of ours. Like we obviously took time out of our schedules, but people had to kind of adjust to us doing this. So we want to definitely thank our families and friends
Right.
who supported us for these last 7 seasons of the podcast. Am I forgetting anything? Anyone else that we want to shout out?
Glenn Powell. No, I'm just
Glenn
kidding. No,
Powell. Yes.
no, I think that's it. If we forget, you know, we'll make comments or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think we're forgetting anybody, right? I would feel bad if we did.
Yeah. If we did forget you, it's not out of malice. It's just
We're
it's
also
been a long.
recording on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's
So-
it's been a long week, and it's a little rare for us to record on a Saturday. I know I have my trip coming up, so I think really Jeremy for sometimes adjusting to my schedule and everything, being really flexible with that. So thank you, Jeremy.
Oh no, yeah, for like it makes sense. Like we have to
Yeah.
do what we gotta do, and um, yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. Like you said, this is not like a for sure like goodbye, but maybe like a see you later. We'll see you around.
hmm
We won't be like we're not living at your house anymore type thing. We're kind of like, you know, doing our own thing, and we'll visit, stop by once in a while, and we'll see. You know, you never know.
Yeah, exactly. So to wrap up, I again want to remind everyone, follow us on YouTube. Obviously search for the Weekly Reel podcast, Instagram at Weekly Reel, TikTok at Weekly Reel Pod, but most importantly, follow us on our on a podcast app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. What are the ones now that kids listen to? Amazon's another one.
Amazon, YouTube
Stitcher.
Music,
Yep.
yeah, Stitcher, Pandora. I'm just kidding. I don't know if we're on Pandora.
Wherever you listen to your podcasts, our entire catalog, I mean, because we used to only be audio, is on there. So if you happen to maybe rewatch a movie or watch a recent new movie, definitely check us out there. Check out our thoughts there. Search for the Weekly Reel podcast. Follow us. And I know we won't be updating for a while, but our entire catalog lives there. All 200 episodes across the board with our Weekly Reel episodes, newsreel episodes, soup du jour episodes. That's pretty crazy that we hit the 200 episode mark. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, they have 4 years worth of content that they can
Mhm.
listen to.
Especially if you're a fan of the MCU and Dumb and Dumber.
Yes, you get 2 episodes of that, and you get all episodes of the MCU, the
Yeah.
Marvels.
Exactly. So, on behalf of my tag team partner, Jeremy, my name is Ken. This is the Weekly Reel podcast. For now, we'll see you in another life. On the reel.
On the real.
On the reel.